There we go. Now it's picking up. How's it going, everybody? Hey, Shinigami here to bring you Ace in the Hole, episode 4. Now, we have ourselves a continuation a little bit from last week with the Acolyte. Now, this will be kind of your weekly update on the show since I am following it. We're almost halfway there. They only have 8 episodes in total, 5 of them left. But after the reception of the first ones, the first two, it was kind of teetering on like, well, it's just mid, right? Well, they've seemingly doubled down even further and made it so much worse for some that, appreciate more of what George Lucas made for Star Wars. Obviously, there's the contrarians that want to say, well, they did this in the original and the prequels. They didn't, and it's like, okay, but we also had his stamp of approval. Obviously, when he first made the first 3, George didn't really know that this was going to be bigger than it was, right? After it, released, it made, quite a bit of money. It was a big, phenomenal event, but it was still very niche. Nerds would, if you had a Star Wars shirt back in like the 70s, 80s, you get picked on, you get beat up just because you had Star Wars, you know. Same thing with Star Trek and things like that. The nerdy stuff wasn't really accepted into pop culture until about 2010, where when superheroes started picking up, and then obviously after the end of the Western genre, you had a little bit more with a sci-fi boom going on. Yes, we had the prequels, but that also just was very heavily criticized at the time. Now hindsight, you know, maybe we treated you too harshly. Seemingly is what happened for Star Wars. Now, ever since Disney has acquired them, they have had a few hits. Andor was pretty good. The first 2 seasons of Mandalorian was pretty good, and Rogue One. But as far as Ahsoka, Obi-Wan, Book of Boba Fett, and season 3 of Mandalorian, they've kind of been off the reservations on quality, right? And ever since they were just, hiring people based off of their agenda affiliation, I guess you could say, that's where you started to really see the cracks in the foundation. Let me see, pop this up. Ba-ba-bum. Yeah. So we have ourselves here what has been going on with the Acolyte. That was a little while ago, but right now they're sitting at a 15%, and it's dropped. Did it drop? Yeah, it went from 86% to 84%. So even with the critics, it's not panning out quite as some would hope. There was also another article I forgot to pop up. Forbes. Eh, I'm surprised this fucking article is still out. Yeah, I thought this guy was gonna get fired, but so even Forbes, a mainstream website, news journalist site, whatever you want to call it, even they are criticizing it. The Acolyte, episode 3 review, one of the most disappointing Star Wars episodes ever made. Third episode of the Disney's Acolyte is an embarrassment to the entire franchise, though the same could be said for so much Star Wars these days. Outside of Andor and the first 2 seasons of Mandalorian, here's one exchange between 2 characters in the latest episode. May, the Jedi are bad. Asha, the Jedi are good. Doesn't give us any more reason of why they're good or bad, right? All you hear is Mother Anastasia basically say, well, it's all about power and who's allowed to wield it, basically from the thread. But wouldn't it be so much more meaty or story building if you actually gave us a reason why the witches hate the Jedi? What transpired before then, right? What caused the conflict? Why do you see them in such a negative light? Same thing with the Jedi. What if we got a little bit more backstory on the witches and found out what did they do? Were they doing things that were very unorthodox, unnatural, and some would say twisted, dark? we don't really get that level of storytelling with Leslie Headland, right? They're basically just surface level fucking quotes exposition. Could be so much better, but the fact that they choose to not actually say something when there is much to be said about the show, you're just reiterating what you already told us the first two episodes. There was a fire. We thought May and Asha thought the other one had died, and then the other thing of just we lost our parents and everybody that we loved in a fire. I mean, yes, we get a little bit more visual representation for that, but as far as storytelling, a lot more could be explained. Now, we may get another flashback from May's perspective on how everything transpired because even when Asha was running out, there was a bunch of dead witches on the ground, but seemingly no marks, no burn marks, no cuts, nothing that can insinuate that they died from the fire or from the explosion, right? And maybe someone force choked them, thread choking them, I don't know, wrap that yarn around their neck. But we did not get that from the show. Too much to infer on yourself, right? You're having to do the justification of what happened in the story, right? Obviously, you got people like New Rockstar and Screen Rant, other places like that that have the access, and they're making up the reasons of why all this transpired when shouldn't be doing that because most of the time, a lot of that stuff ends up being not canon or not even close to what the fuck was going on, right? Where if you actually just had the actual show give us a little bit more actual exposition on telling us why they hate each other, why they see each other in such a vitriolic fashion, maybe people would be able to understand, right? But they didn't do that. Later in the same show, the twin protagonist and antagonist of the show, as a children in the flashback episode, say to one another, "What have you done? What have you done? What have you done?" Like riveting fucking dialogue. Some people are also the Disney stands that have come in to defend the show. I've been like, all the same criticism is being levied that it's boring, it's stale, the pacing, things like that, and it's just like because it's true. Those are the same people that were claiming Godzilla minus one was boring and slow. Obviously, two different fucking genres. One's more of horror, natural disaster, fucking PTSD, fucking thriller or experience. The other one supposed to be telling us about some lesbians that one of them forcefully made twins through the unnatural side of the dark force and created twins, right? And then seemingly completely removes the importance or even how special Anakin was because Anakin was a response to Darth Plagueis and Darth Sidious fucking with the force with life and other things like that. Anakin was a response by the Force, created this being to balance it out. That's why he was so special. But now you have these witches that can just seemingly make a fucking Force a special, yeah, yeah, yeah. It's just like Palpatine couldn't make a fucking, a baby, whatever, as Anakin did. That what? Yeah, and Palpatine was pretty powerful, Darth Sidious, but the way that they went about it completely screws over the importance of Anakin. And I'll even show in the fucking clip here. Some people don't understand. Was it over here? It was a little bit up. Go up, 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 up. Yeah, this fucking line right here.
I am a Jedi, like my father before me.
And again, that's Luke showing his appreciation, his acknowledgement that his father was a Jedi Knight, and what we have been given is not that at all. Here's some other I just wanted to show some fucking test footage from Mace Windu and Palpatine and stuff. This was badass, right? Seeing the fucking acrobatics and fights that they had to do with the sabers. But then when it comes to the Acolyte, it's more of like Muay Thai, Jiu-Jitsu, martial arts combat, which I guess you could say it has its place, but I'll always say that the lightsaber fights that we had from the prequels were so much more riveting and badass to follow. Yeah, and then again, even Star Wars Theory, someone who was very much didn't want to really see what was going on at first and kind of denied a lot of what, Disney was doing to Star Wars, and now he's fully come forth and been like, yeah, maybe they're not honoring George as best as they should, right? He states, I haven't seen the Star Wars community so united since Mando season 2 finale. This is wild. The power of one, the power of many, using their own fucking line against them. But yeah, let's keep moving forward with the fucking article. I want to ask Disney the same question. What have you done? The entire episode is a bad joke. We learned that May and Asha lived with their mothers in a society of witches, all of whom are females. It appears that they have convinced they were conceived using the Force or something. Again, the thread. Force using witches are also apparently frowned upon in the galaxy. They call the Force the thread. I'm getting dark side vibes here, and although I'm also getting the sense that this show will try to be all edgy and make the Jedi out to be the bad guys, which we've seen play out half a dozen times at this point. Again, the point of the prequels was to show that even the Jedi were flawed in their ways. They got manipulated. They fell for the traps of Palpatine. And what happened? Their hubris cost them dearly, right? Order 66, so many of the Jedi got wiped out because they fucking fell for it. Hook, line, and sinker. But they've never been shown in a bad light. Obviously, that's the only thing that Kathleen Kennedy and Leslie Headland and other people that are in charge of Star Wars right now, that's all they want to do. Um, Last thing, Asha and May fight with one another constantly and are very irritating throughout the episode. Asha wants to leave her people and May wants her to stay. When the Jedi show up and ask to test the girls for their Force powers, they agree to fake not having any, but Jedi Master Soul convinces Asha not to lie, and she says she wants to be a Jedi and leave with them against her mother's wishes. May is upset and threatens to kill her sister, locking her in her chamber and burning the entire witch village to the ground, apparently killing everyone, which seems clear that there's more to the story, that somehow the four Jedi, Indara, King Toman, Wookiee Jedi, uh, and Soul, also Torben, are somehow complicit. Soul saves Asha and they escape. May appears to fall to her death, but we know that, obviously she doesn't. What a disaster. Scattered throughout, IGN, this first episode offers up a lot of tantalizing new layers of how to perceive both the Jedi and the Force. I would like to know if we use different versions of the word tantalizing, says IGN. I'm confused about the entire motivation of May, who wants revenge on the Jedi, but is actually the one responsible for killing everybody. If that is anyone is actually dead. After all, both twins thought that the other was dead, and it seems that more likely none of the witches died at all. Even if she didn't burn everyone to death, she certainly started a fire that she certainly must believe killed Asha and at the very best. The Jedi in episode 2 killed himself over this. It seems that there's not much to the story. Again, like I said, Master Torben or Padawan Torben, in the flashback scene, gets possessed by Mother Anastasia when they arrive, and then he gets held hostage. Right, the only white guy gets held hostage, and then the only other line he has is when Asha and May go into the ship. Well, obviously one by one, but we only get Asha's perspective. He just goes, checks her blood, boom, that's it. I don't know what was so bad about that, but I guess that was enough for him to drink the poison and just kill himself. It's like, does that make sense? It really doesn't. I can't follow what you're getting at. Is it white guilt that led him to this point? Also, the chant was one of the lamest in all of history. I want to giggle maniacally listening to it. I also wanted to cry. And again, the Night Sisters are better witches. Marin from Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order and Survivor is a better female witch character than anyone in the show. The show had something about 180 million for its budget, and I cannot for the life of me tell where it has all gone. Every world feels small. Every set feels claustrophobic. There's no sense of scale or variety. It's also so relentlessly generic. But hey, lightsabers. Rewatching the episode with Sol and Asha, this room with the pile of bodies is clearly not from a fire. So yeah, there's more to this, but that doesn't change how ludicrous the whole "I'll kill you" bit is, and how May very much tried to burn her sister to death. Of course, it would also be a bad production design in which cause maybe they did die from a fire or smoke. Again, there's the picture I'm telling you where it's just like I don't see any fucking damages to them. Regardless, what a weird way to end the episode. The girls fight. The fire spreads throughout the entire appears to be a stone cave. Again, like it's like a little fucking fortress made within the mountain with stone and brick and metal. And then suddenly they're passing all the bodies. We didn't hear any commotion or screaming battle. It's more confusing than intriguing. Also, what's up with the tree? That is also something that's kind of weird. Is they bring up the tree multiple times, but it's the only tree like that in the forest. So it's like, what is this? Someone has captured the chant footage. Oh yeah, they're fucking nuts. I'm not gonna. I have no words. I have a theory. However, imposters have taken over Star Wars, and lots of other popular genres properties from The Witcher and to True Detective. Maybe they're fans, maybe they're not, but they're certainly masquerading as good storytellers, and they think they know best, making whatever change they see fit to make it their own. Beautifully said. Amen, brother. I'd say that Star Wars deserves better stewards, but George Lucas didn't do a very good job of that himself in the later years. In fact, The Acolyte keeps reminding me of the prequel trilogy in all the worst ways. Oh well, what a shame. I'll keep watching, obviously, because they're keeping up with it. But yeah, that's this person's synopsis of the fucking end of the episode. And let me tell you, it was a doozy to watch. Very, very mid. That's probably the worst sin that they can be committing, is that it's just mediocre, because not well, yes, there's lore breaking portions of it, but when you're actually watching the show, it's just boring. It's just boring to watch. And we can see how crazy the fucking scale is for this, right? We got some 10s, 87s, other things like that. Uh, some people that are just like fresh take on the franchise of Star Wars, where we don't know everything about Darth Vader, Luke Skywalker, Rey. I get tired of explaining to my family about the timelines, and it's just like, well, that is Star Wars. Star Wars was and mostly was and is the Skywalker family. How their ties to the galaxy, what they caused, and how it affects everything in the universe, right? Guess what? Anakin affected the fuck out of the galaxy. Luke definitely affected the hell out of the galaxy. Saved it, right? Destroyed Palpatine. He basically was able to save his father. And then obviously from the side of Anakin, he destroyed the galaxy for a good while and served as Palpatine's apprentice. Like, I would say that's pretty important, but you know, the Acolyte delivers plenty of grim fun and some witches and more than one delightful, thorough, soapy trope, having carved uh, out of out a space and time where the murder mystery can movingly riff on some classic Star Wars hero quest silliness. I haven't seen any silliness that they're talking about, and this is mostly the fucking issue, the High Republic bullshit. Some other people that are giving more fair criticisms, I would say, are like the fives and sixes. Generally, an okay, cool fight scene that are kung fu force heavy, which is cool. A different style of Jedi is shown, calm and steady instead of lightsaber loonies. I don't like the movie, but I like the cast and it's kind of boring. I love the old Star Wars. Things may skew a little familiar in the early running, but the subversive Headland surely has more than sneaky rug pulls up her sleeve, a tantalizing prospect that makes the Acolyte worth sticking with. The power of bland, the power of boring, the power of empowering someone who knows absolutely shit all about Star Wars. Just watch it for fun and try not to take it seriously. Hopefully, Leslie Headland will fuck off and will We can forget about the Acolyte. Forget all about the Acolyte ever existing. So again, despite the $180 million budget, it's a show that shrinks the world rather than expanding it, blowing its money on lavish set pieces rather than building out environments for us to inhabit. The Acolyte acts like it's swinging for the fences, but when the time comes, the best it can do is manage is a bunt. So you see the controversy in the show, and that is probably the biggest thing is when they're showing the landscapes and the worlds and other stuff like that. Yes, there's a few. God, what's it called? Oh, the fucking word escapes me right now. Oh, it starts with an S. Establishing stuff. There are quite a bit establishing shots, like with the fucking mountain for Brendock. They show that a fuck ton of times. But when it comes to actually like knowing how far a planet is from another planet, for the first two episodes, I would say they don't really give you a good sense of scale of how far um the fucking some of the names for these fucking planets is really hard to remember, so I'm gonna say Kefla. That's not really. Oh, Corazon. We don't really know how far it is from where May killed uh, Indara. We don't really know how far that planet was where Indara died and May killed that person to where her sister was stationed on that uh, engineer ship, and then so forth and so forth. Right? Like at least with the prequels and the original, they gave us a sense of scale. Even in the fucking Disney saga, right? They tried to show you how far things were, how long it would take, and blah blah. Right? In this, we get none of that. So it's just like, boom, we're there. Boom, we're there. And it's just like, how the fuck can you get there so fast? Holy shit. Hmm. Nah, but it's getting wild for Star Wars. What we once had is no more. Whatchamacallit. Yeah, that meme got some people fucking banned. But yeah, we got stuff like this. Literally everyone. You just wasted 100 million on flaming pile of garbage.
Everything burns.
You know, about sending a message. And then of course season 3 of Mandalorian where they had Jack Black and Lizzo. Just like way to make it believable, guys. You're really doing it justice. It's just sad to see where Star Wars has fallen. But I've ranted on for about 20 minutes on that, and so we'll end it there for the Acolyte shit. Unfortunate, but we'll see if they're able to bounce back from this, especially with episode 4. Now, from what I've heard, episode 4 isn't nearly as detrimental as episode 3, but that's as far as, the previews and people have been able to watch as far as like press reviewers, right? So we'll have to wait and see until next Tuesday for that episode. Continuing on, yeah, this I wanted to take a look at. So seemingly IGN, turns out they have been hammering the slander on game science studios for months. Every single article they write on Black Myth Wukong, they bring up the hit piece article they wrote about the game studio. Every single one, this isn't journalism, it's a hit job. So Black Myth Wukong has a release date, and then referencing this thing, upcoming fantasy Black Myth Wukong with a release on the Xbox. However, developer Game Science has still not responded to reports of sexism. Again, if I can zoom in a little bit. I cannot. Oh, I can't read that one. Shit. I would love to zoom in on that. Zoom in? I have no zoom in button. Oh well. We'll see if another one actually lets me read better. Or I might have to move it. Yeah, but the fact that they're reporting the whole thing of sexism when that's not journalism, right? They're failing significantly on this front. And especially for a game that looks pretty badass, I don't see why the hate is being, well, I guess I could see where the hate's coming from because it's a Eastern developed game, is going to probably make quite a bit of money and is catering to what gamers want, that fast-paced action. good mythological world building and things like that. So for them to be attacking this game, basically kind of how they were attacking Stellar Blade, not for the same reason, obviously, because no, we don't have an actual Wukong fucking monkey god here, but the sentiment is still the same. It's a Eastern developed game getting attacked by a Western company, seemingly for not following in the message, right? And also the reports of sexism that apparently is going on. I think it would be hard to prove conspiracy and racketeering in court of law against IGN and Sweet Baby Inc. extortion rackets. The way they say has not addressed any of these remarks though. Remark is the kind of word you'd use when you're a teacher evaluating a student's work or a wannabe consultant who thinks that they can advise you on your wrongdoings. These journalists really think that they are the industry spokespeople or validate, and if they are not okay with something, then everybody else must bend over to their will. Doesn't matter if it's a dev, a producer, a director, an entire studio, a publishing company, etc., etc. I'm a journalist, and you must answer to me now. These people are literal parasites. And again, it just keeps going. Be a journalist, have an opinion, create a lie, and publish it as news. Cite the published lie as a source for new opinion pieces. Repeat. And it's like, that's not how you cite your sources. And especially when you're making up crap. But it's just seemingly all these. Obviously, IGN's the one here as an example, but what was the other one? Kotaku and other uh, sites like that very much will criticize when the fans want something like this, and then they'll attack the fans, they'll attack the game studios, other things like that, because they're delivering on what fans wanted, trying to basically, get their wishes made. But it's being proven that, yeah, they don't have any actual evidence for this stuff, and making up bullcrap like this will only get them further in trouble. It's unfortunate, but that's what happens when you're so focused on identity politics and certain agendas. Gamers don't come first. The companies that are making things that people like, nah, they're just gonna attack them on false allegations, try and make an article of that, and then put that in other stuff to just really hammer it home. Kind of ridiculous. What else we got here? Yeah, this one is. We'll end that one because the other thing I want to talk about, Wesley Snipes fucking posted about Blade. Now, obviously, there's more so from his Blade, but Blade, lordy, lordy, lordy. Folks still looking for the secret sauce. Riding snowmobiles in traffic, kind of rough. Daywalkers make it look easy, don't they? And then, just a little gif of Wesley Snipes. There would be no MCU without Blade. Exactly. Blade saved Marvel Studios way back in the 90s when they were damn near bankrupt. They had to sell off so much goddamn shit, and because this movie succeeded, it allowed Marvel to not have to sell any more characters. That's the reason why Spider-Man is with Sony and why the Fox characters went with, or the mutants and X-Men characters went with Fox, was because they had to sell off their assets to be able to, survive, stay afloat. And I love how the people are just like, yeah, they all know who the real Blade is at this fucking scene where they're just dancing. I won't even play the music because I'm sure I'll get fucking hit with copyright there, but we all know this scene. That's Blade right there. We need another Blade movie with the one and only Wesley Snipes. Unfortunately, he's a little too old to play Blade. Possibly you could do an older version of him, but I'm more so just worried. In the second, I think it's the second. Yeah, yeah. Oh no, yeah. I guess it was the first one for that. Yeah, but they can't. They shouldn't make it to where, and it's gonna sound fucking ridiculous. They shouldn't make it to where it's the daughter or some woman that takes the mantle. I do really think it has to be a man. Just because they already, from what we had gotten before, the Disney version of Blade seemingly had three female leads and Blade as the backseat character. So it focused on three female vampire hunters and his daughter, and then West and not Wesley Snipes and Blade was you know, playing support, kind of how we've seen with Doctor Strange and other Disney Marvel movies coming out, where they put the main character as a supporting character. They use his name on the branding, but then when the movie actually comes out, guess what? They're not actually the one to put the killing blow, finishing final move, whatever. And that's why I'm like, well, people are gonna see that, and if they made a female, uh, his successor, that people are just gonna automatically see it as like, oh, there they go. And it doesn't even have to be woke or, sex or whatever, but the perception has been implanted. There's a reason why Furiosa did so bad in the box office because they used Mad Max as the branding. And even though the original creator was like, well, this is just another character we wanted to, push forward. Unfortunately, what Hollywood has done, yeah, they've ruined themselves because they've had all these badass female characters and Mary Sue's that just know everything and put down the man. Oh, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. I'll show you how it's done. Right? It has tainted good female characters that are the main lead. So if you were to see Wesley Snipe give the mantle off to a female, a lot of the perception's just going to be like, oh well, she's just a badass female, huh? Oh, okay. Well, like it's ruined because of what they've just done continuously, and then also blaming the fans for they're sexist because they didn't like the Ocean's 11 remake with all females, even though they said, well, this wasn't made for you guys, so don't watch it. And then when the film doesn't do well, why aren't any men going to go see the film? Well, you literally told us not to go see it, so we didn't. You know it. That's the only reason I don't see Wesley Snipe being like making a successor and it being a female. It would have to be a man or a boy, whatever. It's just the perceived perception that Hollywood's caused for themselves, and that's the main kind of unfortunateness of the whole situation. We could have so many badass scenes. It might be good, but they've ruined the way people think and will see a movie on first glance. Uh, but yeah, and then you also have Mashar Ali. I think his lawyer uh recently made a statement that in all their years of working on a production, it has not taken this long for a project to get off its feet. They have not they don't have a script, they have not started filming. They have nothing for this Blade movie that they announced back in 2019, which is probably the worst thing for, Mashar Ali because he's an Oscar winner, he knows how to act, he's a good fucking person to put in the film, especially like this. He fits the role, and all the only thing we have of him was that little scene at the end of Eternals where he basically says something to I think it was Black Knight, or yeah, I think it's Black Knight, and that's the only little bit we hear of Mashar Ali's Blade in the MCU. No movie, nothing coming out anytime soon, and they've held that on the back burner for way too long. And obviously, eventually, Mashad Ali's gonna, be like, well, I'm not gonna stay in this fucking contract. I'm not. Like, he's just gonna fucking dip. He already tried leaving when they tried making the three female leads and him as a support in his own movie. Yeah, that he's getting fed up with it, and hopefully Disney kind of realizes it sooner than later, so that way they can actually start working on a good fucking script. Again, it's not hard. You see people just give us this fucking kind of thing, right? The fucking EDM music going crazy, blood fucking falling from the sprinklers. We want bloody raves, giving us that fucking hell yeah. It's not hard to make a Blade movie, and I guarantee you, if you just made it with a badass Mashar Ali as the lead, killing vampires, doing shit like this in the fucking GIF, it will sell just as well as Deadpool and Wolverine because people have been asking for Blade for quite a while, and especially for him to join the MCU. You can have this darker tone, especially with the graphics, right? We can definitely have better CGI, hopefully used properly, not, overused the way they did in Thor Love and Thunder. But when you use it as a tool, an extension of yourself with your art, then yes, people that know how to use it, like there's a reason why Davy Jones, all the way back from Dead Man's Chest and At World's End, he still holds up to this day. Even a lot of the fucking CGI from Lord of the Rings, the first three, they hold up very well to this day. And yeah, they're some of them are 20-year-old films, others are 15, but they hold their weight in quality for a reason. Disney has just gone the fucking opposite way and just being like, we're just gonna we're just gonna lean on CGI way too much and screw over the artists and CGI people that have to make all this crap. Hold them on a tight restraint schedule. Rush them when crunch starts hitting all like fucking everywhere. This could be fixed, obviously, when they outsource some of the CGI, but for the most part, they haven't been giving the artist enough time to actually work on the projects. They don't have enough staff. A lot of the people that used to work on Marvel films now are working at Illumination and DreamWorks. There's a reason why the Puss in Boots movie looked really fucking good. There's a reason why the Super Mario movie looked as good as it did. It didn't look like Minions. It was pretty high quality for Illumination. I'll say that much. And then the other people moving on to like DC and shit like that. Like it's not that crazy to see where the good talent has gone. And Disney is basically just has bottom of the barrel artists right now. Maybe a few of them are still good, but with movies like Wish, Lightyear, uh, Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, just those films alone from last year were they showed how bad the CGI and the animation was for Disney when it could have been so much better. It's not hard. People are literally saying, just give us this kind of stuff and we'll go see it. But they choose to just deny that, right? They don't acknowledge that portion of the fans when that portion of the fans would probably make you a fuck ton of money. What a shame they have turned out to be. But yeah, I want to see what else they got down here in this. Hopefully, we don't see anything too crazy. Yeah, it's pretty much just that same scene. But that's that portion completed. Finally, ending off our show with Gumby. I know. You would think a show based heavily on claymation would continue that, especially when we saw was it Chicken Run? No, I think it was Chicken Run. Dawn of the Nugget or something like that. It was the fucking let me look it up real quick. I got it here. I got it here. Hold up, boys. Hold. Find it. Animation right here. Okay. It was. I wonder if they even consider it animation. All right, here we go. Yeah, it was Chicken Run. This fucking movie right here. Oh, see if I fucking show it without the thing. There you go. Chicken Run. Dawn of the Nuggets. Or Nugget. And this film did pretty good on Netflix. And they were able to keep up the same style that they had before, which was claymation. It did something, right? To be able to continue, and obviously we recently heard that that the clay that company uses for their animations has recently run out, or they're running low, and they don't have a resupply of that anytime soon. That isn't unfortunate for that kind of stuff, but I don't know if Gumby had used the same kind of clay that they were using for those claymations. Yes, it takes more time, more grueling, but like we saw with even you have this little right here with fucking Pinocchio, right? It's a stop motion. Yeah, I think it's stop motion. with the puppets and how Benicio del Toro took his time, made it as detailed as it fucking was. It was beautiful. It was a really good fucking movie. But whatchamacallit, the fact that they could not do that for Gumby, a fucking character that we have not seen for 70, is it 70 years maybe? Let's see. 5, 7. I want to say it was probably about a good, we'll say 50 years when it really popped off, especially on the American side. But again, they had Gumby was a classic fucking stop motion character. Oh yeah, look what they did to Gumby. Yeah, they gave him the old cartoon treatment. I know, but he's supposed to be claymation, and that's what a lot of people are upset about. He just reminds me too much of Cartoon Network style. Yeah, compared to what we had originally, Gumby. Yeah, the horse looked fine back then. Look at this. Doesn't look creepy at all. Looks cute. There's a reason why our daughter likes watching this show. But yeah, like Gumby, it it's allowed to be ridiculous with the clay, but then you have this fucking version of Gumby, and it's just like, why does the horse look so fucking weird? Why do they just continue this style, this cal art style? My girlfriend just said, "Watch this fucking imagine for the show. The horse is gonna be the actual main protagonist, and Gumby's just gonna be a supporting role, like a sideline." Yeah, I could see that happening too. Don't say that. That scares me. No, but you're probably right. Uh Let's see. Let's continue with the article here. The classic Clay character whose stop motion shorts have delighted audiences for a decade is making its comeback. The malleable green guy is set to star in Gumby Kids, a new Fox animated series. Deadline has the first image from the series, which updates the character into a new, more contemporary art style, which we don't fucking need. We need to stop with the whole new, different art style. Like just new. Yeah, it really is just simple art style instead of what we fucking had right there. Like that shit is classic. But instead, you got rid of that and gave us this fucking shit. I will never get over when studios change that heavily on a art style and things like that. It's just like, I understand you're lazy and it does take more time to make stop motion, but as we've seen, when care is given into it, like Pinocchio, a stop motion film done by a very good director who had a lot of passion for the film, guess what? The end product was magnificent. Very good, touching story, huh? Oh yeah, very well received, and people weren't, you know, they didn't dismiss it. They were just like, holy shit, this was badass. It was nice to see something so different from what we thought it would be, and especially when you had at the time Disney's Pinocchio come out that same year, and ooh, yeah, no, no. Oh, that one too. Oh my god, forgot about that one. Yeah, that was a pretty bad fucking Pinocchio too. But that one was more just cringe than anything. In Gumby Kids, Gumby will be the chief architect of Gumbasia, a city home to outcasts and dreamers from a variety of fantastical realms. The show will also feature his supporting cast, including Equian, best friend Pokey, mermaid Goo, dinosaur Prickle, no, Pokey, like Poke, and his nemesis, the Blockheads. The new series is in creation of Deki, the head writer of Netflix's The Cuphead Show, which, like, I like The Cuphead Show, and it actually stayed true to that same art style, but I don't have faith in the art style itself. Deki has experience with classic cartoon characters, having worked on Disney's recent Mickey Mouse shorts, the ones that basically look more like the old version of Mickey. You know, less features, gotten rid of it, and like making it look more like slapstick. Oh, sorry, rubber band animation style. The project will be shopped to potential buyers at the next week's Annecy International Animation Film Festival. Gumby Kids isn't the only new Gumby project on the horizon for Fox and their Bento Box Entertainment division. An adult aimed prime time animated series is also in the works. Again, don't don't try to pull a hey, we have this show for adults and also for kids, because when you try and appease a masses like that, there's going to be brand confusion. There's going to be people that are going to be like, if a kid stumbles upon the adult version and be like, what is, oh, no, I didn't expect this from Gumby. It's just going to fucking freak them out, right? And you're going to have upset parents and things like that. I don't see what's so hard about keeping Gumby traditional. And again, you have, I don't know why they keep doing that. It's like the same thing with Velma. They turned Scooby Doo and focused it on Mindy Kaling, which was a race swapped show, or even it was fucking Velma was race swapped, and then also a self insert for Mindy Kaling herself. It was a show idea where it would have just probably been a murder mystery, but they didn't have a good enough like imagination to create their own characters and things like that. So they're just like, slap it on Scooby Doo. Yeah, that was pretty cool. Yeah, that was pretty cool. Yeah, there was a like a little short clip. Yeah, the way the show was done. Yeah, very yeah, the adult shows cartoons that they've been showing like Velma. Again, why do we have high schoolers being shown in the fucking shower, basically, half naked or naked in general, being only covered by soap when they're underage? Like what fucking twisted Hollywood producer creators are making this? Yeah, it's considered adult, but you're focusing on high schoolers and then literally showing them like having relations and other weird fucking things like that. And it's like, why do we like why not have them in college? You could literally just bump them up to college. Zombie Island? No. Are you talking about the live action? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, so yeah, even yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, we had the live action Scooby Doo, which was fucking brilliant. But again, they were adults, so any kind of adult jokes like, Shaggy smelling his weed friends or having the finding very much the chick named Mary Jane was just like, we see what you did there. We know. That makes sense. But yeah, it's like softcore porn. Yeah, yeah, using preteens or teens. Yeah, it's just weird. Like they're underage. They should not be used. Is the same. No, like sometimes it's just vulgar. Sometimes it's just uh bloody and stuff. Yeah. Yeah, these people obviously always trying to make something for adults but also trying to make stuff for kids. It's just a weird fucking ecosystem right now that Hollywood's in. They got to stop with the whole make stuff that was for kids for adults. Like I get some of it, but usually these companies, the developers and all that stuff, they're not doing justice by the original product, right? They're very much perverting it. They're twisting it into something else that it's not. When you could just give us something nice and wholesome, right, for the kids and just keep it like that. You don't have to go and make something dark and twisty and edgy, right? That's why we got shows like BoJack Horseman, obviously Rick and Morty in its prime, other things like that, right? Where they're allowed to be really fucked up, really crude, and there is no, kid version of it. There's no tie into like, oh, there's some other brand that they're connected to, so there's no confusion on if it's for adults or kids. It's catered to one audience, and that's it. I don't think it should be that hard to make, but I guess for these people, it is very much that difficult. All right, winding down the last fucking minute. Has been a fucking doozy. What else we got? Yeah. The Acolyte though. Ooh. And I would show my Facebook, but I'm not letting you guys see that fucking thing. Fuck you guys. But yeah, the face every time I go on Facebook, there's definitely a lot of shit for the Acolyte and people very much against it. See if I can see something in a just short amount of time. There's just like that many. Yeah. But it's like there is no way you're gonna get to 15% on Rotten Tomato with just bots. Like, yes, I'm sure they can scrub some of them, but with review praising or 10 out of 10s. Yeah, it's just like, okay, are we not like if you want an accurate depiction of where a media is at, the one like when you look at the averages and especially with a lot of the sites that they show, you can very much see how big the gap is with the 10 out of 10s or the 1 out of 1s, 2 out of 2s and stuff like that, right? If you got rid of those and you just focused on like the stuff in the middle, you're going to get a better average of what the show is actually like. But to just say that uh, just say that everything's a bot or whatever when people have valid criticisms against the show. Yeah. This show, yeah. Yeah. Like I said, like people that like Andor, Book of Boba Fett, even if that's kind of, yeah, the new era of Star Wars, there's been some good stuff that came out, but the amount of people that are denying that, like, why didn't we get so much backlash back then, right? Did all the racist and trolls and sexists not come out to those, right? They didn't come in full force to attack those shows, but for some reason we're attacking Leslie Headland, former personal assistant of Harvey Weinstein. Like, are we just not? We're not going to talk about that shit. Like, there's valid criticism in what people have, but to just kind of whisk it away as these people, they're just bigots. They're not actual fans. And then if I could find the other picture, it's one of like they have like a hate boner where they post a picture of someone saying, you know, the show sucks or whatever, and then they got a guy going, thumbs up, like, okay, and that's their response. Yeah, but then they'll post, yeah, they'll post the thumbs up, because the hate is like, yeah, yeah, look, this one, look, things sucks. People who feel superior because they hate things, the majority of the fandom, you should hate thing. They're all happy, still miserable, still implicitly focused on the thing they hate, even though they're not even taking the fucking criticism, right? And then when somebody responds to that criticism, yeah, and like, look here, and then right here, but the majority of the case disliked it, even the specialized critics. Take a look at IGN, for example. Nah, bud, this time it looks like the majority don't like it. There's finally something fans agree on. This is a bad show. And again, it's just an LGBT Star Wars dumpster fire, as this person said. And anybody who disagrees, again, she's using homosexuality and all this like genders and things like that as a fucking shield for criticism, which is not fair. It's fair for you to get praised for having these uh these things in there. Yeah, but whenever whenever the criticism gets levied at them, they're just like, "When I'm lesbian, you shouldn't be criticizing me," or "I'm a female, like I deserve that." Yeah, I'm not straight, so you shouldn't criticize me. But again, look, another person here. She is using other gender and sexuality as shields to defend her subpar product. This is an insult to gays and lesbians everywhere. Being gay should not be a shield for Disney on any level. This is wrong, insulting, and has to stop. The gay culture is not your shield. Again, and I had someone in my comment section from last week who was even saying that like they're gay and they don't like how this is being pushed. Yeah, they're tired of the bullshit of like, oh, as soon as we say, oh well, I'm gay and you should like it because we're gay, and if you're gay, we should all support each other. And it's like there, yeah, there's homosexual people calling it obnoxious too. It's like, are you not going to acknowledge those fans? Are they not bigots in your umbrella? Yeah, they're not valid. Apparently not from their eyes. Ugh. And then and then you have I don't know what fucking this one is, but it's a Pride fucking month looking article, and it says Star Wars villainizes gay audience in the Acolyte episode 3, which like they don't, but like I said earlier, they don't give enough like meat or substance to really know what the fuck is the issue. Like if we actually understood the gripes between the Jedi and the witches and why they hate each other, maybe people would have, you know, less of a reason to hate them. But all we have is like, well, they're gay, so that's why people hate them. It's like, no, like you just literally wrote a horrible fucking dialogue for this whole episode. It was boring, it was long, tedious, didn't it, it could have been shrunken down so much more. But I guess we're all just bigots at this point, misogynists. Yeah. No, but I'm seeing a lot more people mark it as zeros and lesser than that. I'm just like, yep, sounds about right. Mm-mm-mm. Yeah, that are watching it. You had expectations and stuff too. Yeah. No, I mean, shit. There's no way fucking robots are gay. They can't. They're fucking robots. But that's what Disney has made. All right, though. We're ending it there. Thank you for joining us on another Ace in the Hole. This has been great. Thank you for watching and have a good night, good morning, and good evening. As always, we will see you next time.